All right, I'm just waiting for, I see the cursor is circling, so that might be a good sign. No, come on. All right. We are just trying to connect to all of our avenues here. Um, Sorry for the holdup for anyone who is watching, but why don't we just go ahead and introduce our guest? Welcome to the Homeschool How To. Today with me, I have Chad and Brittany, the traveling Slaters.
That's
Welcome.
us. Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. While I try to connect this over here, why don't you guys give me a brief synopsis of what kind of, well, let's start out. I usually start out, anyways, by how many kids you have and what ages they are.
Yeah, we have two kids. Addison is 8 and Levi is 5. And we started homeschooling Addie in 2022. Um, and then this past year, we decided to do something a little bit more exotic, I suppose. And we sold almost all of our possessions to travel the world with our kids and give them some world education.
Wow. So, okay. So let's back up. What made you initially even want to homeschool the kids?
A lot of factors. I would. One of the main things is we didn't want the government to, you know, teach our kids. Yeah.
To have a say?
that,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Pretty
I mean,
much, yep.
that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And we honestly we wanted to spend as much time with them as we possibly could. We didn't want to turn them over to somebody else for so many hours a day and then only see them, miss the good part of them and see the bedtime meltdowns.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. And that's huge. Now, had you seen things like while your kids were in traditional school anyway that kind of led you to think, maybe a different school or maybe homeschooling is the better way? Like, what was that push over the edge to start homeschooling?
Well, they never actually went to school. We started homeschooling Addie at kindergarten.
Oh, okay.
New York didn't need, you don't need to technically go to kindergarten, but we started homeschooling her in kindergarten and stuff. I would say a lot of 2020 kind of was that final push because she was right on the edge of that fall going to school. We decided to hold her back till she was a little older. So she was almost 6 when she started kindergarten, but
Okay.
they were still requiring masks and things like that, and that's not something that we wanted. And also a lot of the I don't, I would say like the vaccinations and stuff that's now required for students and stuff. That was something that I didn't want, or both of us didn't want that.
Right.
So, those were two things that were kind of at the forefront of do we wait? Do we send her? Do we homeschool? I mean, there was a lot of other decisions and stuff like that, but those were two of the bigger ones for us at that age.
Yeah. So we must have kids around the same. My son is 6 now. You said you were from New York?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, upstate.
Okay, that's where I live. The wonderful
Mhm.
state of New York. Yeah. And that's kind of what pushed me too. My son was, well, he was in daycare and they wanted to start masking 3-year-olds, Cuomo, in New
Mhm.
York. And that wasn't going on anywhere else. I mean, maybe some places, but it, it was crazy. And,
Yeah,
I
it
said, and
was.
this was, a year or two into COVID anyway. I said to the daycare provider, well, all right, have you even gotten sick yet from these kids? Because
Mhm.
it's been a while. If you haven't yet, or show me the amount of daycare providers that did get sick and die because
Mhm.
these kids weren't masked, and they don't have the numbers for that. There weren't any. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's what led me to think, no, we're not doing this. We pulled him out, and then it was like, oh, we better start thinking about homeschooling because if I don't have the say over what goes over my kid's face in a private daycare, it wasn't even in like a institutionalized daycare. He was at a private home, but they did follow all of the legalities of
Hmm.
it. You know, they
Yeah.
got
Hmm.
audited by the state and whatnot. So they followed all of that. And I said, if at 3 years old I don't have this kind of control over my kid,
Hmm.
I don't know what's going to come down the pipeline. And then you
Right.
just look at
Absolutely.
now what school nurses are giving out to kids, and
Yeah.
it is crazy. I'm sure we only know the half of it.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
so okay, so you were
Exactly.
homeschooling them,
Hmm.
and you did that at home for the first year,
Hmm.
First 2 years.
2 years.
Yep.
2 years,
I
and
was
then
actually
what?
no, he was actually the homeschool teacher. Plus, my mom was amazing and took Addison one day a week or two, sometimes 2 days a week to help out with like reading and stuff like that, which was incredible and very helpful. But yeah, but he was the teacher. I had to go into the office every day, so which was hard,
There's
but
a few homeschooling dads in the groups that we run in. So yeah, I give you props. I've had a couple of them on the podcast too, actually, which makes it a lot of fun. But what made you decide, let's take this on the road? And how did you do that? Well, we'll get into that, how you did that with your career since you were
yeah.
in the office. What made you decide, like, let's break out of these four walls, even from our home, and take it on the road?
Yeah, we've always loved to travel even before we had kids, um, and we were actually at a homeschool event, and we heard a child talking to someone about this world schooling program, and then we're like, what do you mean a world schooling program? What is that? So we started to look into it, and then it just started looking better and better, and it's like, well, we can let's give this a try. We're kind of like stuck here. We love the state of New York, but we don't love the state of New York. I'm sure you understand what I mean there.
I totally understand.
Um, and our
I wouldn't
families,
mind getting out of here right now.
I mean,
all of
both of
our
our
especially
families
families
are
are
especially in
there.
here.
February where it's like ice,
Yes,
just
Yeah.
sheets of ice everywhere.
yes,
It wasn't an easy decision. I mean, both of our families are New York, and so it's definitely wasn't an easy. I'm one of six kids, so and most all of my brothers and sisters are right in the same area where we left. So all the cousins and the kids' cousins and stuff like that are there. So it definitely was not a light decision. It was definitely are we doing this or are we gonna
And
try it and
were you thinking like we're really selling everything, or we're just going to go for a couple of months and Airbnb the house?
we thought about that. It just financially it made the most sense to just get out from underneath everything, and then just kind of start from scratch when we come back. If we decide to come back to New York, we're still we're still up in the air on where we're gonna land after we get done with the program.
Okay, so the program, there's an actual program that exists that says,
yes.
"Hey,
Yes.
homeschooling families,
Mhm.
join us." Are you traveling with them, or are they just giving you ideas of where to go and where to stay?
So the program is called Boundless Life, and they have locations all over. They have locations in Portugal, Italy, Greece, Montenegro, Bali. They're opening up a location in Uruguay
And Spain
in the
as well.
fall, and they also have one in Spain. So we actually this past in September we were living on the island of Syros, Greece, with this program for 3 months. They they have 3 month cohorts, as they call them. And then in the summer and in July and August, they have 1 month ones that people do at the same locations. But they have the 3 month ones during the actual like school year, September to June, at all these locations. So the kids actually go into a school, but it's based off of the Finnish school system and Montessori style schooling, and the classes are a lot smaller. And so, example, in the fall, there were 24 other families in this program with us. So we also gained an incredible community. So we now have, people that we know from all around. There were people there from New Zealand, Australia, Argentina, Zambia, um,
Yeah, Canada.
Canada, America. It was all over. And so now we actually, in between, after in November we left, we went to Cyprus for the month of December, and now we are actually in the Montenegro, Couture, Montenegro location for January, February, and March. Right now, so the kids are back in the school system, and actually, there's a couple families that we were with in Syros that are here as well, that the kids are really and we're also, as well as the adults, are super close with. So
That's so cool. All right. So I have a plethora of questions. Okay. So, well, first of all, when you told me when we were setting this up and you were like, we were in Montenegro, and I went to public school, so I had to look that up. I've never heard of it before. I
it's a
like
new country.
challenged my
It's
husband
a
to find it
fairly
on the
young
globe.
country.
None of us, neither of us. I don't know if it was on the globe. We couldn't find it, but I Googled it. So you're near Greece, Serbia, that sort of
Mhm.
area. Okay.
Croatia,
Mhm.
so it borders
Bosnia.
Bosnia, Croatia, and Albania are the two,
Okay.
like, are the three that are kind of surrounding it.
What language do they speak?
Montenegrin, and then also
A lot of
Serbian
Serbian,
as
Croatian
well,
too.
Croatian kind of. Um,
So do
Kind
you
of.
have to know the language, or is that part of your schooling, is learning the native language?
so the kids will start learning some basic words. They learn to count to 10 in Montenegrin. They'll, good morning. Dobro jutro is good morning here. So they'll learn like the basic stuff, but most people will, when you go into shops or restaurants, most everyone will speak English. Some not so clear, but most it's you can communicate.
Okay. Okay. Oh, that's cool. All right. So they're in a school, but
Mhm.
you have kids in this school that are from all over the world. So what
Mhm.
language are they teaching the school in?
It's in English.
English.
Okay.
And then
It's very
actually in
pompous of us
Yeah,
to
right.
just assume.
no, they are going to start incorporating a little more Spanish into the program, I think, starting in the fall. To Just because they're going to have three Spanish locations here soon, so they're going to start incorporating a little more Spanish in them. But everything else is English. Basically, the
Okay.
program's English.
So you join the program, and do you pick where you go for the three
Mhm.
months or the one
Mhm.
month? You pick. Okay.
Yes.
And
We
you're
do.
going to like their spots. Like we have a
Mhm.
school here and
Correct.
housing, and
Correct.
you're
Mhm.
just signing out of that. Now, what
Correct.
do you guys do all day? The kids are
It's
in school. What are you doing? Kicking your feet
it's
up?
awesome. The
Probably
kids are in
not.
school. We explore the country. No, we work. We have Brittany has a remote job. I have a small company that I run. So we are constantly doing that kind of stuff. And there's also as part of this community, there's several things for the parents to do, such as organized hikes,
Yoga.
yoga, lunches, all sorts of things that you can sign up for to do as kind of like extracurricular activities for parents. This is a wellness based cohort. So there's some folks here that are big into the wellness space, and every morning there's meditation. There's a workout 1 or 2 days a week. There's yoga 1 day a week that they facilitate here, and you can go if you want to. And if you don't have to.
Mhm.
So and then we just hang out with the other parents a lot of the times if we're not working.
And parents have all different kinds of jobs. There are people that are in, I'm a virtual assistant, so I have a couple clients and things like that. And, there are other people that have full time 9 to 5 jobs that were in the hub, and some hours that are crazy. They have a co working hub for the parents, and it's open 24/7. You can go down, it has, um, cubicles like for more privacy, and then a more open workspace for the parents. There's parents that own their own businesses. There's parents that do commercial and residential real estate investing. There were people that were lawyers. There were all different business coaching. Every parent has a different career. So,
Okay. Oh, that's cool. Now, how will your children like graduate? Are they graduating from just homeschool where you guys do you have to report like still to New York? I know we have pretty strict reporting requirements in New York. Is that how you're managing that?
Yes.
yes. So the teachers will actually after each cohort or the quarterly reports that we need to do, we have someone that we need to submit them to, and the teachers help write it because they're the ones that are doing the teaching and stuff like that. So, but yep, still same, whatever the New York requires, we're still completing that and stuff. So,
Yeah, our lovely quarterly reports and
yep,
IHIP at the beginning of the
yep,
year, statement of intent and
Yeah.
attendance and all that.
yep.
All right, so that's really cool. So are they learning everything in school? Like, do you guys add on any? Is it Monday through Friday, 9 to 3, or what does it look like for the kids?
So it is actually drop off is at 8:45 and pickup is at 3:30. So it's a pretty robust school day, and they are learning pretty much every subject. Every cohort there is also they call it a quest, and that's basically the what is it, the meat of the curriculum for that cohort. So
Hmm.
when we were in Greece, it was
Biodiversity, like ocean pollution and, um, just everything dealing with the water and animals in the water and stuff. So,
and so they do math and English. They have
their quests, they
they have the
have
quest. They have they have recess. They have pretty much everything.
art,
Um,
science.
yep, different. Not every single day, but they do them in different. And then there's different age groups. So there's like a 1 to 3, an 8 to 9, and then like a 10 to 12. I think once you get 12, I think once you become a teenager, you age out of the program. They don't have a. I think it stops at 12.
No,
Or
14.
is it 14? Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, the Pathfinders or the Trailblazers are 14, 13, 14-year-olds.
Okay, so when I had posted this earlier today when I was hoping to get our Instagram live going, we're on YouTube, but um, someone had mentioned, oh, well, I could never home or world school because the kids are not forming relationship like friendships and that sort of thing. You might have seen the comment.
Hmm.
What do you have to say about that? Obviously, people make comments about things that they really haven't looked into, and this is the first time I've even heard about having a formal program that to be a part of. So they're obviously with the same kids every day, forming these friendships.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah. What else do you have to say? Kind of about the socialization aspect there.
Our kids are forging friendships that are going to last a lifetime. They have the friends they made in Greece and the friends they made here in Montenegro so far have been like amazing. And this is in here in Montenegro. This is a very unique situation where pretty much everything is in the same building. So there's 6 families living in this building, and then the school is down below us, and the work hub is down below us as well. So basically, school drop off is just walk down the stairs and you're at school. So it's almost like college dorm education kind of experience um, with kids.
At this
It's
location
wild here.
in Montenegro.
So from the moment they wake up, they're like running out the door to go see who's outside in the hallway running around playing. And then as soon as they come home from school, they come up the stairs, they take their stuff, they chuck it in the doorway, and then they're gone. Um, or they're here with the other kids. So it's a very tight knit community, especially in this location. And the kids are just thriving
Hmm.
with the kid, playing with kids that are 5 year olds his one of his best friends is a 10-year-old boy. So they're like, they're forming those relationships through the, you know, that's one of the things is for homeschool is co-ops with all the range of the kids. That helps kids, progress instead of being around just their age group all day long.
Sure. Yeah. Which you never think about again because it's just you do what everybody expects you to do and send your kid to kindergarten and you don't really think about it. But yes, when you read books like I think it was Free to Learn, where they really talk about the beauty of the younger kids learning from the older
Mm-hmm.
kids and it's not in this authoritative way where it would be mom or dad showing you how to do something. It's someone they're like really think is cool and they want to be like and then the older kids take on this responsibility of, oh, I get to show the younger kids how to do something. Does it always work out like that? No, but generally that's what I've seen. And it is hard.
Yeah.
My kid's the youngest boy out of like kind of one group that we hang out with. And, I'm constantly having to kind of like talk him through things. And like, yeah, you're being the youngest is hard, but also when you're 6 and some of the other ones are 10, 11 years old, that is kind of a big gap. But
Mhm.
I see
Can
the
be.
beauty in it. And overall, it's a fantastic experience where he wouldn't be getting otherwise. He'd just be around other crazy 6-year-olds like
Mhm.
himself and not learning like, oh, that's how you fish, huh? Well, let me
Mhm.
try. And could you show
Mhm.
me it?
Mhm.
That sort of thing. So that's really cool. All right. So does this program cost anything? Like if I just want to sell my house tomorrow and join this program, do I have to pay the program or pay for the room and board? Like what do you guys eat? How does that all work?
Yeah. So there's a tuition cost, there's a housing cost, and then there's cost for the hub, and then if you want to do any of the extracurriculars, they cost as well. So I mean, honestly, and upfront, it's not the the cheapest option. Um,
There are more expensive options. There are definitely cheaper options. There's if you actually like research into it, there are quite a few world schooling programs out there.
Wow. Okay.
There's a lot of people. Also, one of our friends in from Syros, they're actually in an internet. They put their kids in an internet, trying an international school in Spain for the next however many months. There's so many different options that you people don't realize. Like we didn't even realize until we started,
Looking
really
into it,
researching
yeah.
it and looking into it and stuff like that. So there's definitely cheaper options, but there's also definitely more expensive options as well. So,
Okay, so I've had a world schooler on before Jen, and they kind of picked where they were gonna go. Just went as a family.
mhm,
Um, they were on some sort of raft in the Amazon for.
yeah.
I
that's
think they
awesome.
spent like 6 or 9 months out there. Um, and so she said like I think they Airbnb their house and they pick just cheap tickets. This is where there was a cheap ticket to because there was a
Mm.
war going on in the area that they flew into. However, when you went to the outskirts, when you're in the Amazon, they're pretty
Hmm.
safe out there. It's more like scorpions, I would imagine,
Right.
alligators.
Yeah.
But and then I had a road schooler on too, which she was from Canada and she was road schooling in the U.S. So I guess to her that is world schooling, where she was in an RV. But yeah, this is a different approach. What made you take this approach versus doing it on your own?
Um, we were just kind of stagnant in life and what we were doing. We were it was kind of becoming mundane. It was becoming the same thing over and over again. And like I said
Groundhog
before,
Day.
yeah, we love to travel and we wanted to, kind of instill that in our kids. Um, I, I saw a quote that it was something along the lines, if you teach your kids to travel, they'll never have enough money to do drugs. Yeah.
That's
But
why we do it.
yeah. Well, we just wanted to do something different that was a little more off the cuff. I mean, we got a lot of pushback when we decided to homeschool, so that maybe that wasn't enough for us to get out to do. So
So
We
what was the pushback when you told your family we're selling the house and leaving? We're not even
oh
just
yeah,
putting it up for rent. We are
that
selling
was
it
a
and
fun
going.
conversation.
Those
Yeah,
are fun
that
conversations.
that was a fun
What
conversation.
part of New York were you from?
Upstate Rochester area.
Okay, yeah, I'm like Albany area, so.
Okay, yeah,
And
that's what I'm
and
from. I'm from Cobleskill. My folks live in that general area, so
no way.
yeah. So we're from we do the the throughway.
Yeah,
Visit
yeah. I'm
quite a bit. Um,
I'm more closer to Vermont now, but I
okay.
grew up in Schenectady and I've
Oh,
Okay.
been
nice.
to Cobleskill many times because of just people that went to SUNY Cobleskill or
That's where
friends that
we
are
went. That's
from
where we
there.
met.
That's where our love
Was
story
it?
began.
I'm
Yeah,
40. How old are you guys? No,
I
I'm
just
41. So.
I just turned 40 in
Mhm.
December.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, 42.
Yeah, I had my friend Liza. Geez, I don't remember her last name. Oh, Ham. The Hams are out there and Gottliebs. It'd be
Oh, I
so
think
funny
I know
if
some
you,
Gottliebs. Yeah,
huh? You
I
do
think I
know?
might know some Gottliebs. That's funny.
That's so funny. Small world. And
Yeah,
yet here you are in Montenegro right now at
Montenegro.
2:30 in the morning talking to
Yep.
me. Um, all right. So are you going to stick with the program or like what are your next steps?
Great question.
Yeah, we're currently debating that. I'm trying to figure out what our next move is going to be because we're halfway through this 3 month cohort right now. So it's the end of March is when this one will be over. So,
So then
um,
what? Are you like homeless after that?
but we are technically homeless, which is wild. Um, but we may try to do another cohort somewhere else to finish out the year. Maybe just do kind of a gap year kind of thing with this program, and then go back to New York in the nice part of New York in the summertime,
And visit family and
and then
stuff. The kids are, that there isn't, there's hard parts and there's easy parts of this. We all
Mm-hmm.
miss the family. The kids miss, their cousins and their friends and stuff like that. And, so we all have our moments. There's ups and downs of doing this. We had, an acre and a half of land where we were. So we were constantly outside, you know, playing and just exploring and stuff like that. So we miss we do miss our home back that we sold, but it's then we have days where we just are walking down the street here or in Old Town and are talking about history with the kids. And it was Carnival this past weekend with here in Couture, and there's a parade, and the kids had a blast. And it has the ups and downs.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to any parades in Albany, probably.
Oh,
But
nope.
Skill, you might get a few like cow parades going
Yeah.
down, which are probably fun too. But yeah, you'll never regret doing this experience. You can always buy another house, and
Yeah,
you know,
that was kind of a big part of the process, and my dad was very supportive. He said, "Some people live a boring life. Your life will not be boring." So that was like, "Oh, awesome, thank you."
yeah. My a girlfriend of mine in our homeschooling clique here, she just wrote a book and she asked me to read it. And Mary, she was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago actually, and she was a teacher who left, and she kind of wrote this book. At first, she titled it um, "Taking Back My Life," and I said, Mary, people are going to look at this and think you were in an abusive relationship or something. You should think, you want people to know that this is about you kind of separating from society. And as I'm reading her book, I was started to think, geez, it is a book about leaving an abusive relationship. It's
Mhm.
about leaving the society. It's abusive to tell you
Hmm.
this is where you have to be every day. I mean, not even just as an adult going to school, but our little ones from the time we send them to daycare, and they want that to be at 6 weeks or 8 weeks. Send them off to daycare and get back to work, mom. their day is structured. Every day it's breakfast and playtime and outside time and lunchtime and da da da. And then it goes right into school, younger and younger too. Now
Mm-hmm.
we have them in school in New York. Your universal preschool is age 4, so that's a full
Mhm.
day, all the way up to 18, and then college. And like your whole day is structured for you, even telling you down to what you have to learn, which is, I think, one of the biggest realizations for me, that like, no, we don't have to learn this. No, like
Mhm.
nobody says we have to learn this, but Cuomo
Mhm.
maybe in his Common
Mhm.
Core. But that is such a
Yeah.
made up thing. And so
Mhm.
yeah, reading her book, I was, really like, wow, this is true. I think I've been going through the breakup for like 5 years now, which I'm still not fully there. I love to be able to grow all my own food and,
Oh yeah.
you know, not have to live on the grid or whatever. And I know people that do, but, um, the time might come where we'll have to learn that. I don't
Yep.
know, but
Mhm.
I think it's so important to teach our kids nonetheless how to do
Mhm.
that, because we don't know what the future will bring. But yeah, it is. It's like anything you can do these days to break from the norm of that
Mhm.
monotony. It's just, you look at it like, why am I here? If all I do every day is get up and go where someone else told me to go, and I worked for the government for 16 years, so it was just sit here while someone else raises your kid, and you're
Yep.
pushing an email here and there. And if I had a better way to think of doing something, they were like, yeah, it's cute, just do what we told you.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wanted to hear good ideas or make changes. And yeah, you really get depressed because it's just Groundhog Day over and over. And so I
It
commend
is.
you for taking that leap. I mean, it's amazing. And I think more people, if it felt within our grasp, we would do it. But society just makes you feel so pigeonholed. And I think it really starts out from like, everybody's got to go to college, because it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, now you have all this debt. So
Mhm.
Now you're
now you
stuck.
got to work,
Now you're
you
Yep.
stuck.
know?
Yeah. Now you
Well,
can't do anything. Yep.
they raise teaches school teaches to be workers, not entrepreneurs. I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
that no one from public schools or whatever school system you're in, you're not an entrepreneur and stuff like that. But they're training you. You sit at a
Yeah.
desk 8 hours a day, go to school, you eat lunch in a cafeteria or this, it's certain time, and that's literally what you do in an office.
Mm-hmm. They're training you for that office
Mhm.
life. And before it was the industrial revolution. Let's train them to be this way. Yes, I've
Yeah.
done a lot of research on
Mm-hmm.
the history of our
Yeah.
education system, and it's mind blowing, because
It
everything is
It
is.
tied up
is.
in a pretty bow for
Mhm.
equality. And little
Mhm.
Johnny in New York should know the same thing as little Billy in Wyoming. But there's so many different things to do. Even today, my son's really obsessed with that really old video game, Oregon Trail, mostly
Yeah.
because it's like one of the only ones we'll let him play. And he's trying to learn how to read, so we're kind of trying to use it as a way to get him to read. But I
Yeah.
put into Chat GPT today. I probably shouldn't say this because I should like sell this as a product. But I put into Chat GPT, can you give me like a 10-day unit study, include reading, writing, math, geography, history, on the Oregon Trail, on the westward expansion, so I can just bring it to his level, something that he's curious about now, and grab hold
Mhm.
of it, and then he can learn the other subjects within that. You
Yes.
can learn math
Yeah.
and relate it to the Oregon Trail. How
Yeah.
far did they go? Let's
Mhm.
look at the
You're
map and
correct.
see. And
Yeah.
it's just, there's so many more beautiful ways to learn. And you guys, you said it's off of the Finnish model that
Mhm.
you do, and the Montessori. And I know now in Finland, they don't even do any formal education till like age 7 or 10, right?
Correct. Correct. I think it's 7 is when for them.
So they're not teaching letters or reading before that.
So they use what's called Jolly Phonics. It's a really incredible program. And they teach the phonics of letters before they teach what the actual letter is. So when a kid sees the letter B, they may not know that it's the letter B, but they know the sound. Um, and which has helped our son, who didn't really know his letters. Um, he knew some here and there. Before we went to Syros, and the amount that he had learned in that 3 months with this one program that they use, Jolly Phonics, was we were absolutely blown away. Like, so they definitely have the different methods. It's not, you need to learn your ABCs, you need to learn this, you need to learn this, you gotta learn your sight words at this age, you gotta do this. Like, it's, they work with where the kid is, where your child is at, and go from there.
Well, and if 24 families are in the program, I mean, how many are actually like the ratio of student to teacher where your kids go to school?
So Ciro's, because it was a bigger one. Levi's class, our youngest, he was in a class of 6 with a teacher and an aide. So he got a lot of, they
Wow.
did a lot of one-on-one stuff with, in math and in phonics. Addison, was in a class that had 6 kids as well, that had a teacher and an
Wow.
aide. Um,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
the classes here, Levi has, it's just 2 kids here, because it's a smaller cohort. There's only 8 families here, for this one. But Addison's in a class of, and it worked out, it's all girls that are 7 to 8 years old, and there are 4 of them in there. So it's one
Wow.
teacher, plus there's an aide that goes around to the older kids class, the 10 to 12-year-old class, and then will go into Addison's class. So there's 4 boys in the older class and 4 girls in the younger 8-year-old class. So
Yeah, so they can really
like,
get that one-on-one
Yeah, very
yes,
much so.
time,
yes.
extra help when needed, or can move
Mhm.
them along if needed so they don't get bored. Oh, that's
Correct.
really cool. And what are some of the coolest things that you guys have done since you started world schooling?
Um, geez, we went ziplining.
You can zip line and Cobleskill.
No, we actually, last week was our mid cohort break, for the week. And another family, and us, we actually went to Bosnia, for, and explored Bosnia for the week. We did a couple nights in Mostar and a couple nights in Sarajevo, and then a couple nights in a city, Dermator, um, in the mountains here in Montenegro. It was, the Bosnia is about 2 hour drive, hour and a half drive from here for us. So we actually did that, and it was, we were still teaching the kids when we were traveling to Bosnia. They're,
So Sarajevo has a lot of history, um,
with the war
and
back in the 90s.
we took them to the Latin Bridge, which is where Franz Ferdinand was assassinated to kick off World War One. And we actually were
Wow.
standing right there at the spot. And then they have a little museum there, so we went in took the kids in the museum.
They asked to go in there.
Yeah, the kids wanted. They're like, "Oh, let's go in here." So okay, yep, let's go. So when the kids want to go in the museum, you say yes. You just go. You always say yes. And so they got to get a little bit of World War One history, and that was awesome. I mean, that was just very surreal to stand there and think this.
Yeah.
So that was, and we've in Greece we island hopped a couple of the week. We had some long weekends, and we were able to get on ferries and go to Santorini and Paros. You know, those are some bucket list items for us, and get to go and take the kids and see different things. And um, we've been on crazy hikes with parents. We've taken the kids on hikes with us on the weekends. Just getting outside,
Quality family time.
exploring new countries. This place, this Couture, is like a fairy tale. Here, there's what they call the Old Town, and it's just this old city that just has walls built around it like a fortress, and surrounded by
Wow.
water, and it's just stunning.
That's
Mountains,
Montenegro or a place in
Montenegro,
Montenegro,
yeah.
yep.
There's mountains everywhere you look. There's a giant mountain. It's wild. So
Wow.
we're not lacking for things to do, and it's always, when you go to a new place, it's always exciting because it's new, and then you kind of see what you can see in 3 months, and then you move on.
But we're
It,
really able to kind of immerse into the cultures though here as
Hmm.
well. We're not here just for 10 days and then we have to go back because we have to get back to work. We're actually able to, you know, become friends with,
locals.
locals. The gentleman at the fruit stand in Ciros, we walked by, we'd say hello, he'd say hello to the kids, like, you know, the kids would say Kalimera, good morning, is Kalimera in Greek and or good morning in Greek, and it was really cool to see, the relationships that they have built with locals as
Hmm.
well. Even just
What
the
do the
kids.
locals think of Americans?
It depends. The kids go every other Friday with this program. They have a field trip, so they're always out and about in the community. It's funny; they're always wearing their little vests so they don't get lost, uh, which is nice. But
Yeah.
they do tours of everything, and they see a lot of the stuff that the parents see just at different times, and it's brought down to their level so they can learn what it's about. Um, and most of the locals, once they realize that you're kind of like a local, they kind of open up to you and they're nice to you. And like Brittany was saying, we form relationships with some of the vendors. Like the butcher lady here, she's great. She's hilarious. Um, and it's just there's so many options to um, there's workers that work with the parents to facilitate community activities. That's their job in life, is to a community advisor, and they set up all these things for us to do. We can do them if we want to, and then it's you just talk to them and say, hey, I need this and this and this, and they're like, okay, we'll go here. We can get you a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment. You go here.
We got a
um,
dentist appointment today.
today in a couple hours. So,
Because it's 2:30 a.m. there.
yeah,
um,
yeah.
Yeah, our
are you
daughter,
guys? Did you?
we found out she needed glasses, and
Oh yeah.
we went to a doctor in Greece and got glasses, and it was way cheaper than in the States.
Well, so that yeah, that brings up another good point. They don't take like MVP there, right? So are you guys just paying out of pocket for things like
Mhm.
Yeah,
doctors and dentists?
we just pay out of pocket. It's set, the 3 months is set up so you don't have to, like get a visa or passport or anything like that. So we're out of, in Europe, there's a Schengen union, which is basically a union inside of the European Union. And for those countries, you can only be in those countries for 90 days out of a 180-day period. So Greece is um, one of those countries. Montenegro is not.
Imagine that having rules
Yeah,
around
your border, who you let in, man.
I know.
immigrants and
We
Who would
yes,
have
people
thought?
emigrating to your country.
and
Bizarre.
so Montenegro is strategically placed with this program because
Outside of the
they are not a
Schengen area.
Schengen country. So we can go to Greece and to Montenegro and not have to worry about a visa or passport.
Okay. Yeah, I had a friend that just went to Mexico to get all this dental work done, and she's from Poland, but lives here now, and she couldn't believe the prices in America, what things
Yeah.
cost. So, yeah,
Hmm.
it was cheaper for her to fly from New York to Mexico, have a
Mexico has
Airbnb there
great
the whole
healthcare.
time.
People
Yeah.
don't realize that Mexico has very good healthcare. People go down there, like especially families, to give birth because of their system is amazing. Um,
Wow.
the the eye doctor for Addison, it was we got in the next day after we said we needed an appointment, and it was $40, €40 to get an eye exam done for Addison.
Wow.
Not a copay. That's just what it costs.
Wow. That's something. All right, as we round out the hour, what else did you guys want to make sure that we talked about? I know you guys have a page for people to follow. You kind of journey, what you guys or journal what you guys are doing
Mhm.
along your journey there.
Mhm.
Which, yeah, I shared one today. I couldn't get it to work just the way I wanted to, so I kind of like pirated it. I
That's
screenshotted
okay.
it, but I but I
That's okay.
collaborated with
That's
you on it.
fine.
So
Loved it.
That's fine. Just, I don't know, maybe just do what feels right. Do what feels right for your family. And follow your dreams. It's not easy. It's not always sunshine and rainbows. It takes
Mhm.
work.
Mhm.
Um, and you do miss out on some things. But if you want to travel, travel. If you
Mhm.
want to stay home, stay home. If you want to do your thing, do your thing. Just
Someone's always going to have a comment, but you got to do what's best for you and your family.
Yeah, Brittany, did you have to leave the job that you had to do
I
this
did.
and get a new job?
I was there. It was a wonderful company that I worked for almost 8 years. But it just wasn't a position. I was an executive assistant, and it just wasn't one that I could go remote with. They needed someone that could come into the office a couple days a week. So I did have to leave the position, which being the only income at the time, like it was not an easy choice. There were a lot of late night conversations of, do we do this, do we not, do we, what if we try this, what if we don't do this, what if we do this option instead of this option. Like it was months of discussion
yeah, it
Mhm.
wasn't.
before
Yeah,
this.
it wasn't a 1 day thing to make this decision. It was, and it came down to when we look back at our life, are we going to regret not doing it? And kinda. So we did it.
Yeah, that's exactly how I went about leaving government work. It was like, oh, am I really going to leave a pension?
Mm-hmm.
They tell you for so long, oh, nobody has pensions anymore. You can't leave a pension. You just can't leave a pension. And finally, I had to look at it and say, well, by the time I get my pension, my kids aren't going to need me anymore. So
Mhm.
on my deathbed, where am I going to be? And at the time too, I had a friend whose mother just retired from the state because she got cancer, and she died a couple years later. So having cancer the whole retirement.
Yeah.
So it's like even that is not guaranteed. What we have
Mhm.
now is our kids are young, we're healthy. So if you can
Correct.
make something else work, and even with the podcast, I get tied up in spending extra time on this and extra time on that and trying to grow the Instagram page. And that's like, I have to take a step back and say, why? Like, we're doing with less, like for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
Correct.
then
Oh
at the
yeah.
same time,
Correct.
it
It's not an
is,
easy road
yeah.
by any means.
Mhm.
We've sacrificed a lot. Even before we decided to sell everything, when it was just one income,
To
it was
homeschool.
the
One. Yeah.
homeschool. We wanted that. We wanted to homeschool the kids, and it was not easy by any means. There were very hard days where he's like, "We got to send her to school. I can't do this. It's it's been a week.
We've
It's
all
been
been
a
there.
day."
Yeah.
You
Oh yeah.
know,
Oh yeah. A lot.
and so it's not easy, but in our hearts, it's been worth it, and
Yeah.
for our kids, it's been worth it.
Right. The overall is
Hmm.
definitely worth it.
Correct.
Well, Chad and Brittany, thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming on today at 2:30 in the morning, your time in Montenegro. People can follow you. Why don't you let them know where they can follow you, and I will also put that in the show's description.
Yeah. We're on pretty much all social media channels at the Traveling Slaters. Um, we do
Awesome.
most of our stuff's on Instagram. Um, that's our favorite platform. It looks pretty. Life's not always
When
that way though.
when the live streams work out, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, guys,
And
thank you so much. Good. Yes, go
Thank
ahead.
you. And if anyone has any questions, they
Yep.
can reach out to you, and you can reach out to us or connect us or reach out to us with any
I have
questions.
one
I'm happy
comment
to
here
answer
from
anything.
Keith that said, I love the traveling Slater videos. So
oh, nice. Well,
no
thank you.
questions, but a nice
Appreciate
comment.
appreciate that. Appreciate that very much.
We'll
Um,
keep up your good work
yeah,
and
thank you.
spread the word that we can take that leap.
Yes,
Leave the
and you
Groundhog Day.
love your podcast. You keep
Yeah,
doing what you're doing.
awesome.
It's awesome.
Oh, thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great day, morning to
Yes,
you.
great
Night
day.
to us. New
Thank you
York
so much.
misses
Thanks, yeah.
you.
All
Mm,
right.
Bye
Have a
bye.
bye.
good night.
Okay, I stopped the live stream, but
Mhm.
let me see how much you. Oh, you guys are. You got some good